Joining me, James Martin, who is the president of the 60 Plus Association, whose organization has launched a $1.5 million ad campaign against the president's health care proposals, and Ron Pollock. He is the executive director of Families USA, which is part of a coalition that includes pharmaceutical companies. The group launching a $12 million TV ad campaign. They launched it yesterday, supporting the president's plan. Good to have you with us, Ron. Let's take a look at Let's take a look at the ad hitting the airwaves, if we may, courtesy of an unlikely coalition of pharmaceutical, medical, and health reform advocates.
Seniors are being asked to sacrifice again. Congress plans to pay for health care reform by cutting $500 billion from Medicare. For seniors, this will mean long waits for care. Cuts to MRIs, CAT scans, and other vital tests. Seniors may lose their own doctors. The government, not doctors, will decide if older patients are worth the cost.
Well, Jim Martin, what's the deal there? That's pretty strong stuff.
Well, we are just following what the news media reports to us. I guess it's the blame game, as the president said earlier. The fact of the matter is there are massive cuts coming to Medicare. Seniors are angry and upset about it, as well they should be. It's called savings in Washington. That's double speak, of course, in Washington, D.C. There are cuts. There's no question about it. You're not going to be able to cut costs without cutting care. It's that simple.
Well, Ron, your thoughts?
Well, that's extraordinarily misleading. If you look at what this health reform does for seniors, it closes the so-called donut hole, which is that infamous big gap in coverage where seniors who've got multiple health conditions have to pay substantial amounts of money. It closes that donut hole. It provides a new program
I got to say
to provide home and community-based services.
May I interrupt for just a moment?
Sure.
I'm just curious. This thing about the donut hole, by the way, I'm a reasonably intelligent fellow. I can't understand how a donut hole got to move to the center of this discussion. I mean, help us out on that.
Well, you're absolutely right. This donut hole is, is something.
It's ridiculous.
It is. You're absolutely right. What it does is for seniors who have multiple health conditions and take lots of drugs, they get some help for the first dollars. But then, after about $2,500 a year in expenses for drugs, they have to pay the full freight for the next several $1,000s, and a lot of people can't afford it. So health reform is going to fix this once and for all. It also provides home and community-based care services so that people can stay at home rather than going into an institution like a nursing home.
Well, let's take a look at one of your commercials. This ad hitting the airwaves, courtesy of your coalition. Let's take a look at that.
What does health insurance reform mean for you? It means you can't be denied coverage for a pre-existing condition or dropped if you get sick. It means putting health care decisions in the hands of you and your doctor. It means lower costs, a cap on out-of-pocket expenses, tough new rules to cut waste and red tape, and a focus on preventing illness before it strikes.
Well, Mr. Martin, I mean, what's wrong with that? That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Tell you the truth, I like some of that,
right.
Pre-existing conditions and preventative care. But let me point out to you, that's rather, well, he was cherry-picking a couple of good things that everybody can agree upon. But I'd like to address the donut hole. Low-income seniors are affected by that. Well, let's face it, until there was a Medicare prescription drug benefit passed a few years ago, and by the way, pharma supported it then. I don't know it. I don't think Mr. Pollock did. Fact of the matter was there was no donut to start with. So that was at least a start to get the donut to help seniors out.
Well, yeah, but the problem, of course, with that is for people who really need prescription medicines the most, if they wind up spending more than $2,500, then they wind up having to pay the full freight for the next thousands of dollars thereafter. So this fixes that problem, and it's going to help senior citizens. At the same time that seniors are going to get home and community-based care services, they will get preventive care. And one last thing, you know, a lot of seniors are worried about the solvency of the Medicare program. This legislation will extend the solvency of the program so that seniors do not have to worry, as they have been worrying in the past, that the program is no longer going to be there for them. So this really is going to help America's seniors.
Why was there such opposition to the prescription benefit in Medicare when the Bush administration pushed it through from some of the very same people who are now supporting the president's health care initiatives?
Well, what people were really concerned about was that the people who needed drug coverage the most, they're the ones who really remain out in the cold after a few months of getting coverage.
So we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars to no effect.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. The first dollars are helpful to America's seniors, but if you really have
every poll I've seen shows great satisfaction with the plan.
Oh,
I
think people are satisfied that they have drug coverage for the first time, but they're not happy when they wind up falling into this huge gap, which now will be fixed.
I would like to add that that drug benefit is, 30 million seniors can't be wrong. They've signed up for it in droves to get that benefit. It was a great, long-needed benefit. You know, the Medicare program, I mentioned earlier about the problems with it. Let me tell you this. It's 44 years old. It was signed into law July 30, 1965. I worked on Capitol Hill when it passed. Seniors have paid in now for 44 years, and they've paid their dues. They are now concerned about the massive cuts that are facing this program. That's what they're angry about.
All right, gentlemen, we're really out of time, and I apologize. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ron, real quick.
It's horribly misleading. There's waste in the system, and that is going to get fixed.
We got the part where you disagree. We appreciate you being here. Ron Pollock, the head of Families USA, James Martin, the founder of 60 Plus Association. Gentlemen, thank you. I wish we had more time. Let's go to Brooke Baldwin real quickly for an update on the other major stories of the night. Brooke.